Most people consider their favorite war film to be an iconic one. Saving Private Ryan and Dunkirk are just two examples that many people would probably say. Both are amazing films, but there is one film in my opinion that doesn't make a film just about war. It is a brutal reality that gives us a perfect look at why we don't listen to the warnings society gives us. The fact that warfare was not talked about after its release in early 2025 shows how little people care about such a crucial and systematic issue. Each frame of this film is as uncomfortable as it is suspenseful. The sudden transition from excitement to their mission in the beginning is as authentic as this story can be. You see the whole group of soldiers cheering as they connect to the workout
20
video.
years ago, President George W. Bush announced America's invasion of Iraq. He called it Operation Iraqi Freedom and said it was necessary to keep weapons of mass destruction out of the hands of Saddam Hussein. After 20 years, some 4,500 U.S. service members and 300,000 Iraqis have been killed. CBS News senior foreign correspondent Charlie D'Agata spoke with the U.S. ambassador to Iraq.
A single cut that demonstrates the quiet and fast switch that each soldier has to follow in order to guarantee their survival. It is a constant fear of threat at every corner that awaits them. One wrong move can ruin the entire mission. But there's the question. What's the threat? This is the whole essence of the reason why I made this video. They don't have an enemy. They are their own enemy. What Ray Mendoza does is something very few filmmakers do anymore. He turned a lived memory into a true commentary on an entire conflict. Take, for example, this scene. When you first look at it, they're just waiting. Some are fooling around, some are focused on the mission. But there's one thing for certain. It's quiet. This silence was not made on purpose. This silence is the last silence until true horror begins to be unleashed upon these poor souls. A scene that embodies fear like no other. The lack of music is what makes this scene even more realistic. This is the reality of war. The most realistic gunshot noises that you will ever hear. It doesn't matter how calculated you are. There is no greater pressure than knowing one wrong step could become one of the most painful experiences in your life. The acting of each character all shows a deep sense of fear. They embody these characters because even their sweat and breathing feel authentic. Those who survive are the only ones who can accurately depict the experience. This is what Ray Mendoza experienced. A horrifying explosion that injured and killed multiple members of his team. And he brings this experience to life with a single shot that could, in my opinion, describe this film's statement perfectly. It looks like a religious cross being forced down by wires, showing how little hope there is in war. It's like there's a dirty film trying to cover up the hope, trying to show us that even God can't save you. I don't think there is another film that can depict war as well as warfare does. There are very few films that capture the level of filmmaking, the level of acting, and most importantly, the sound. One of the most important ways to make the audience feel like you're in the film. There is no other way to experience a film like having stellar sound design, hearing the eeriness. Good horror movies do this well. They incorporate subtle sound cues that make you increasingly more uneasy as the film goes on. But what warfare does is going above that. They give you every subtle sound. You can hear every single person's breath, every subtle movement that their body makes. That level of sound design should be applauded, and it's a shame that it didn't get the recognition that it deserves. No one has been as passionate to make a war film as Ray Mendoza has. It showcases the traumatic and complete terror that is caused by war. The only films that I can think of that can really replicate this feeling that warfare gives me is movies like Come and See and All Quiet on the Western Front. These films are so repulsive that it makes you want to stop watching, because that's the reality of war. People don't really think about what war is really like, but when they do see it, they just can't look at the complete chaos that is being laid out in front of them. I cannot describe a better realization than that of the actors Joseph Quinn and Cosmo Jarvis when their characters show us the shock and trauma of being injured during this mission. They experience unimaginable pain that is amplified even more by the chaos around them. The sound design shows itself again with the blurry, ringing gunshot noises. The chaos is depicted even more with the constant movement, even when you're disoriented or injured. The battlefield does not care if you're injured. It does not care if you're dizzy or disoriented from a bomb. You have to get up and keep moving no matter what, because your life depends on it. The trauma Ray experienced took a toll on him immediately, as everyone would expect, but what they didn't probably expect is how it actually feels. Will Poulter's character is so disoriented that he can't even lead his troops. It's a truly dark realization that even the most hardened soldiers can be broken from war. As more soldiers arrive, the threat keeps becoming more and more dangerous. Every single character has adrenaline through the roof. One of them is so shook that he injects morphine into himself by accident instead of the injured soldier. But what really caught my attention was the fact that they had to impersonate a higher up just so they could be saved. But when they finally leave in the Casavax, one final question arose in my head. Why were they...
New strikes across Tehran tonight as the U.S.-Israeli war on Iran is expanding.
The sun hasn't come up. We don't have any reports other than Maduro is out of the country.
Over 90 minutes beyond President Bush's deadline for Saddam Hussein to leave Iraq, that U.S. warships and planes, there were F-117 stealth bombers.
The final moments of the film show the family witnessing their home being destroyed because of the U.S. soldiers forcibly occupying their home. And in the final shot, a long, continuous frame showing the Iraqi people walking out into the streets after the U.S. soldiers left their home in rubble. If you really look at America's foreign conflicts in the Middle East in the last 25 years, you can see a pattern. And it is a pattern that unfortunately can cause a perpetual cycle of war and violence forever. And we're still doing it to this day. And this shows that terrorism isn't the problem. It's about power and control. We lie to ourselves, saying the enemy has weapons when we don't even know if they do, making someone a threat because of one terrorist who is unfortunately from that place. It creates a snowball effect. We put our troops down in their land without their permission, and we continue to lie and make the American people view a dying country as the enemy. This lie is the systematic issue that I teased in the beginning of this video, which is the most important thing to understand what I'm talking about. People in power often forget who it is they are sending to these terrifying war zones. They forget the consequences of their actions. The reason why terrorism happens in America is because of the constant hostility, fast conclusions, and distrust towards other countries. We're not willing to accept it because we're too scared to. For some reason, it feels like America views every single third world country as if there's something wrong with them, as if we need to fix them. We turn these third world countries into war zones because we make the claim that they might have weapons of mass destruction, when in reality it's just a claim without any proof. This is what is shown in warfare: the consequences of laziness and power. When will it be enough that we stop hurting the lives of these soldiers and innocent civilians whose countries we invade, who are just trying to survive in their already poor country? Will it be enough when we turn the entire world into a war zone? There's a bigger issue here. The problem with this issue is that normal people like you can't control this. The people who are causing this are our leaders. And our country is built on patriotism. So when our leader says this country caused a terrorist attack to the US, we're obligated to go and retaliate because America doesn't stand down from a fight. Think about times like Pearl Harbor. That is a prime example of us retaliating over such a heinous crime. So we need to figure out where to draw the line between honest retaliation and attacking for the sole reason of just showing how powerful you are.